Hello everyone, this is Reaper, and today we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 off-perk weapons in Killing Floor 2. Now, this is all just my opinion, and your opinion will likely differ from mine, so I would like to hear what your opinions are in the comments below. For anyone not aware of what an off-perk weapon is, an off-perk weapon is when you take a weapon that doesn't belong to the class that you're playing. And first off, I would like to say, I wouldn't recommend doing this all the time, as it would just make more sense to play a different perk or to pick survivalists so that you can use all the weapons. I will be stating the circumstances that you might want to use these and the classes that I usually pick them on. So, let's start. At number 10, we have the Medic HMTech 501 Assault Rifle. The big draw to this weapon is the meta grenades. They can be used to heal allies easily, as well as be able to cut off areas and kill all small Zeds within an area. The main drawback to this weapon is both its weight and the amount of money that you gotta throw in. It's gonna cost you $2,000, and that's pretty hard to justify on most characters, but this one can work out in certain circumstances. If you don't have a healer on your team and you would like to heal, I usually don't take this weapon on most classes. Sometimes I'll take it with demo, but it has to be very rare circumstances. That's why it's at number 10, and we're going to move right on to number 9. At number 9, we have the RPG. This is another very expensive weapon, and the reason you would take this is pretty obvious. It does absolutely devastating damage to anything that it hits, especially flesh pounds, and that's what you're going to be mostly using this for. I have picked this up a few times with Medic and Berserker. The main reason why you would take this weapon is simply if you do not have a high damage class on your team, somebody playing Sharpshooter or Demo to deal with flesh pounds. It's also not a bad weapon to take on boss round 2. At number 8, we have the flamethrower. The flamethrower is probably the best crowd control weapon in the game when used correctly. A very easy weapon to use, and it is very effective against large crowds of small Zeds. You can separate them and hold off areas quite well. It works very poorly against large Zeds like Strikes and Flesh Pounds though. The only class that I've actually taken Flamethrower with has been Medic, and that was simply because our team did not have any sort of crowd control. And that's really been the only class I can think that it's probably at least somewhat viable on, so that's why the Flamethrower is at number 8. So, number 7 is the Winchester. This is one of the strongest starting weapons, capable of killing small Zeds with one headshot and killing most medium Zeds pretty quickly. It's a pretty strong weapon. It does have a slow reload though, but it is high damage and high accuracy, and you can just pick it up on the ground, and that's what I would mostly recommend. If you find it, pick it up and use it for that round. Maybe you're in only the third of 7 rounds, you can get away with it pretty easily. Later rounds, not so much. It's still pretty strong, but you will likely already have better weapons at that point. So this is a weapon that I would recommend trying to find early on into a map and help you out. Just help with whatever weapon you're trying to build to for your class. At number 6, we have the double barrel. With its huge amount of close range damage, this weapon is easily a fan favorite in this game. The double barrel is a pretty solid weapon at close range and medium range engagements for most classes. Other classes do have better options at this price range, but I have taken the double barrel with classes like Berserker and Demo early on just to get a little bit more damage in at close ranges. This usually depends more on the map that I take the double barrel. The double barrel is really strong in confined maps or somewhat medium range maps. Plus with the double barrel you can do the little trick where you fire off both barrels while jumping and get a little bit of distance. This is somewhat useful in certain circumstances. Mostly you're only going to be using it if a Scrake or a Flesh Pound rushes you and you have to move out of the way quickly, or if Hans is rushing you and you want to move away quickly. So not always necessary, but it is a fun weapon. Alright, moving on to number 5, I would say that from here on out all these weapons can be taken with each class and be used to some level of effectiveness. It's going to vary heavily on the class, but each of these are a pretty solid off-perk weapon. At number 5, we have the Desert Eagle. The Desert Eagle is extremely strong, and it is very cheap and weight efficient. It only weighs 2, and it costs only 550 dosh, making this a pretty solid pick early on, as it can deal with pretty much any of the small to medium Zeds, even some of the larger Zeds just by itself. So Desert Eagle is a very good option if you would like to save up your money more, but still not have to rely on your starting weapon only. At number 4, we have the 500. This is another insanely powerful handgun. The 500 does weigh 1 additional pound. It does cost more than the Desert Eagle, but it does do much more damage. It's a great choice overall. It has high damage, and this is one of the weapons that I kind of recommend taking 2 of, as I have used 2 of them with Demo and with Medic quite often as another weapon in their arsenal. You can't just go with 1 though. 1 is a pretty solid option too, as it only weighs 3 pounds and it does a lot of damage. It's also really accurate at most ranges, so overall the 500 is just a really solid pick. At number 3 we have the Katana. This could easily have went to the Hemoclobber, as the Hemoclobber actually has an additional healing effect. It costs more, they both weigh the same, they both block the same, and that's the reason why it's here. A melee weapon is always a good choice if you would like to save ammo in the early rounds, as well as be able to block. The block is the main reason why you would take a melee weapon that's off perk, as both the Katana and Hemoclobber allow you to block 40% of the damage that you would take from a melee hit, 50% if you parry it. I have taken the Katana with a few other classes, namely Commando if I think that I really need it, but you can really take it with any class if you feel like you need that extra defense. At number 2 we have C4. This is one of the few weapons that really any class can get and use very effectively. It's a very low price right now since it got reworked for only 300 dosh, and it only weighs 3 pounds. So C4 is very good at dealing out burst damage, dealing with flesh pounds, and it can help with classes that already have a problem dealing with flesh pounds. So classes like Commando, SWAT, Firebug, classes that don't put out the most amount of damage, and if you get quarter pounds early on like you usually do in the higher levels, they can be a bit more annoying. C4 can kind of soften them up or help out your team kind of deal with a choke point easier. And then finally at number 1, this is probably no surprise at all, it's the Medic Pistol. This weapon is just so good. It only weighs 1 pound, it has the ability to heal allies, the healing darts can also be used to poison Zeds, which is somewhat of a gimmick, but it does help against larger Zeds like Skrakes. If they start raging, you might be able to poison them and get them to kind of wander off target. It also only costs 200 dosh, or it's completely free if you just find it laying around. You can also throw 1 upgrade into this weapon without it gaining any additional weight. It is true that this weapon is not very strong by itself. It's actually one of the weakest weapons in terms of just raw damage, but it's still strong enough to make a decent sidearm for dealing with small Zeds that you don't want to waste your more expensive ammo for. And on that, it is also very cheap to refill ammo with this thing. So, this was my top 10 list of the best off-perk weapons in Killing Floor 2. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and tell me what your top 10 off-perk weapons are and the reasons why. Thank you guys so very much for watching this video. I hope you found it enjoyable. If you did, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and leave a comment down below telling me what you thought of the video. And as always, if you guys have been having a good day, keep on having a good day. If you guys have been having a bad day, I hope this video made your day just a little bit better. Hope to see all of you guys next time. Till then, stay cool, and bye.